It's that time again. My favorite day of the week, Thursday. Thanks for hopping on and sharing your morning with me, half hour on this live stream. It's Thursday. It's May 1st. Can you believe it's May 1st already? Well, we're going to get started right away on that note because we have a lot to get to today. And I am super excited, not only for being here with you, but I'm really grateful that you are sharing your time, your focus, and your energy with me and getting to share it with the Live Beyond Default crew, whether you're watching live or you're checking us out on Facebook, maybe Apple Podcasts, maybe Spotify, maybe LinkedIn, maybe YouTube, and you're just watching the replay. So today we are going to start off with a quote from Jack Welch. Jack Welch was the CEO of General Electric. And Jack says, change before you have to. And on that note, welcome to this episode of Live Beyond Default Livestream. It's your weekly dose of personal growth. My name is Dave. I'm your host, realtor, capital connector, and of course, your trusted resource. This is episode number 84. Can't believe it already. And we are live from the loft, my loft in downtown Arlington Heights. Thank you for joining me today. Let's start off by sharing a little bit of gratitude in the chat. If anybody has something that they're grateful for, let's drop it in and I'll start on that note. First of all, I am grateful for the willingness to accept change because we know that not only is that the topic for today, most importantly, change is always going to be there. Change is constant. Yeah, that's kind of an oxymoron. Change is constant, and you know how important it is to embrace change because when we resist it, things don't go well. In fact, anytime we resist anything. So I am grateful for accepting change the best that I can every single day and making the most out of changes and bringing opportunities. So let's see who's got this going on today. We've got Sid. Good morning, Dave. We've got Brandon, awesome. And Christina Jolich says, grateful for starting my morning with you going deeper. I'm grateful for challenges that bring peak growth partners. Yes, Christina, thank you so much for that because you know that your network is your net worth and we're just here to bring value. And in fact, the Live Beyond Default group, we're all watching and listening for a reason because we're growth minded. We're self-reflective. We're entrepreneurs. We're employees. Maybe we're stay-at-home moms or dads, but we're all of us want to live beyond default. We want to live beyond what we know that we could do. We want to live beyond what people tell us that we can do. We want to live beyond the system. And as some people say, the matrix, but we won't get into that. So I am hitting record on this on my phone right here. Yeah, excuse me. Ron says, grateful for the rain. Yeah, Ron, I'm grateful for the rain too. In fact, this morning I woke up at 4 a.m. I heard that it was raining outside, so I opened up my balcony door in my bedroom, and it was cool laying in bed while the rain was falling. I love that sound of rain. It was super awesome. All right, we've got one more gratitude here. Waking up, being able to smile, the willingness to uplift and be uplifted, and grateful for the unplanned blessings today. Oh, Brandon Cork, the unplanned blessings for today. Thank you so much for sharing that because I think that's totally important. Okay, get out your notebooks. Get ready to write things down. Get ready to share in the comments because change is going to come. And like I said, change is really the only thing that's constant. You know that. You hear it all the time. It's 2025. Do you remember 5 years ago what it was like? Well, we were in lockdown. The world was a whole different place at that time. And it was just absolutely crazy. And at this point, we're 5 years past Rona. We're 5 years past it. Now, we don't get into politics in this show. I'm not going to argue whether Rona is still here or not. The point is, the lockdown's been gone for 5 years. Let's ask ourselves, what are we doing? Who are we becoming? Are we saying things that we're going to be proud of? When we look back on the last 5 years, all these changes going on, whether it's economically, whether it's politically, whether it's with our families or our friends, or maybe we changed careers. I changed careers 5 years ago and I jumped into real estate. Who knows what the changes are? But they're constant. And I want you all to reflect, like I'm doing, on what your change has been over the last 5 years. And look at yourself in the mirror. And first of all, tell yourself, I'm so good looking. But next, make sure you share with yourself what the changes were. Let's start reflecting on those changes. And let's recognize that we still have the opportunity to be a new person every single day. Yeah, a lot of gratitude in here. Jack says, grateful for networking opportunities with you and your associates. Great opportunities in the future. Yes, sir. And Sid says, grateful for small moments of happiness. Yeah, Sid, it's those small moments of happiness that really make a difference in life, isn't it? And thank you again for sharing that. Okay, so we know the change is going to come. It's coming today. It's been coming over these years. But the challenge now is, what I think, just my opinion, not everybody agrees with me, is things are just happening so fast now. And if you look back, how many years ago they used to say technology would double itself every 2 years or 3 years, depending on how far you go back. And then it becomes every year, and then it becomes every 9 months. I don't know how fast technology doubles itself right now, but it sure seems fast. And with the implementation of AI, which actually has been around for a while, I'll tell you, really, I'll share with you that I have a rice cooker, a Zorahishu, that I got from Mitsuwa. Does anybody know what Mitsuwa is in Arlington Heights, that Japanese market? Yeah, it's awesome. I got a rice cooker there from years ago. It's got to be 15, 20 years ago. And the thing works like a champ. But the funny thing is, it's called Neuro Fuzzy. It says Neuro Fuzzy. And I never knew what that was. When my brother's like, dude, do you know that our rice cooker from back in the day had AI? I'm like, no way. He's like, look up Neuro Fuzzy. Well, I looked up Neuro Fuzzy, and there's AI in the rice cooker. Now, it's a very, very primitive or beginning stages kind of artificial intelligence, but still, AI has been around for a while. We're just seeing it come to the public with ChatGPT and other open platforms that we are, as the public, are getting to use. So just think about that, like how quickly things are going with AI, how much it's doing for us at this point. You could talk to Alan Stern about that. You could talk to Patrick Panayatov about that. You could talk to Stephanie Jenkins about that. So many people are working in this AI space. I even remember Mark Cuban when I saw him like 6 or 7 years ago at it was a college in Elgin. I don't remember the name of it. It's off of 31 and 90. But somebody asked him, hey, what are you investing in now? What are you focusing on now? And he said, everything that I'm focusing and investing on is going in AI. And that was years and years ago. And just, we had no idea how big it was going to be, right? So things are happening fast. The changes are happening fast. And are we ready for those? Like, I know we're not really ever ready for anything, but are we ready for those? So what are we doing on a daily basis to make sure that we're tapping in to ourselves and being our true selves? What are we doing every day to live our power, right? I wear this shirt for a reason when I'm out and on this show. Super, super important. That change is happening so fast. 5 years from now, there's going to be chips in our heads. We're going to be traveling and hanging out at the moon and maybe Mars and all these other places. And it's like, we're going to look back at the decade and go, WTF just happened in my life. So this is a challenge for all of us. We're not halfway through the year yet, but we almost are. Let's start recognizing that change is coming and it's there every day for us. And what are we going to do to embrace this change? How are we going to ground ourselves in our personal life, in our business life? Let's think about our business life. As a realtor, I've been selling homes for 5 years now and going back and forth and picking up new clients. And thank you so much for trusting me. Love working with y'all. At the same time, I wasn't as good as running the business side, running the finance side. And with all these changes happening, I finally decided last year to get a bookkeeper. And let me tell you, this bookkeeper in Atlanta has done wonders for me. I use software. I meet with her twice a month. In the beginning, I had to work with her for a while. But now when I'm working with her twice a month, which I just did yesterday, it brings me clarity on my finances, where I am today, where I'm going to be 6 months and 12 months as I'm growing. But also it grounds me and it makes me realize that the grounding and understanding the finance side of this business, because real estate is a business, is really grounding me and prepares me for all these other changes that are happening in the industry. Because we can only focus, we can focus on whatever we want. But most importantly, we want to focus on what we can control versus what we can't control. David says, very cool. It's my first LinkedIn Live, fun to experience. Yeah, David, thanks for joining us. So we're on twice a month, the first and third Thursday every single month. We're live on Facebook, we're live on YouTube, we're live on Instagram, and we're live on LinkedIn. And you could check out the replay on Apple Podcasts, and of course, my favorite, Spotify. So let's get back to change is gonna come. I want to ask the question for all of us, because I think this is really important. So as I mentioned, it's focusing on what we can control, not focusing on what we can't control. Focusing on our health, we can control that. Focusing on our finances, we can control that. Focusing on what we do on a daily basis, limiting our time on social media, making sure that we're surrounding ourselves with the right people, making sure we're sitting down with our kids and riding bikes with them, doing physical activities with them, asking them how their day was, and reading books to our kids, especially being present with our kids. Those are the things that we can control. So let's ask ourselves this question. What are you paying attention to? What are you paying attention to throughout the day? Yeah, taking a sip of that bulletproof coffee as I'm coming at you live from the loft in downtown Arlington Heights. So think about that. What are you paying attention to? And I want you to break down the sentence. Paying attention. You're giving your attention away. Right now, you're paying attention to this live stream, whether it's this moment or you're watching the replay. Is it bringing you value? If it's not bringing you value, that's okay. Don't watch it. And I mean that kindly, because we want to do things. We want to be the person who we want to become. And we want to do things that are going to move the needle forward. And if this live stream moves the needle forward for you, that's awesome. That's what we want. We have the choice. We could choose what we focus on. What are you paying attention to throughout the day? Are we being proactive? Or are we being reactive to what's happening? Are we paying attention to things that we can't control? Or are we paying attention to things that we can control? What about our emotions? What about when somebody triggers us at the office, or, a client or a vendor? What if somebody triggers us? Are we paying attention to what's going on inside of us while we're being triggered, so we know how to respond and make sure that we're moving the needle forward? Or are we upset about something that happened the night before, or maybe 5 or 10 years ago? This person reminds us of somebody in our life and it triggers us. So ask yourself, what are you paying attention to? What are you paying your focus currency? That's a good one. Let's tweet that. Your focus currency. What are you paying attention to? Super important to recognize. Dawn Block, thanks for joining us. If you haven't seen Dawn's live stream, it is called, Dawn, put it in there. I think you call it Around the Block or Down the Block or On the Block. Throw it in the chat. And if you have a link to it, throw it in there too, because Dawn is a local realtor in the Schaumburg area, and she has an awesome live stream that she does regularly, and I absolutely love it too. So thanks for joining us. So remember, let's think about this throughout the day. It's a little bit of an audit of your time, focus, and energy. What are you paying attention to? What are you giving your focus, your focal currency to? Who are you giving it to? What are you giving it to? Are you giving it to the news? Are you giving it to the victim-villain mentality, where if you're not feeling well or something happened to you, right away you're pointing a finger and saying, that's the reason why, that's the villain, and I'm the victim? Because we know that that's just a spiral, and we all get there at times. We're not perfect. We all get there at times. The idea, though, is change is going to come. It's happening all the time, and we want to remember to recognize what we're paying attention to. So, on a lighter note, I was thinking about the change in my pocket. And wasn't there a song like 20 years ago? I guess that change in my pocket just wasn't enough. F you and a F you too. Yeah. Like, it kind of lightens it up a little bit, but I wanted to bring that up for a reason. I thought about that earlier this week, the change in my pocket. And I know people are still talking about getting rid of the penny, right? Speaking of change, that little copper 1 cent piece that we've had for a long time. But think about that, like going back to that song, which at this point, I don't remember who sang that song, but I could picture him. It's interesting how people treat you a certain way when you have money or if you don't have money. And I find that you really know a woman or a man when they treat somebody, how they treat somebody that can do nothing for them, and how they treat strangers. Imagine that when you're out with a friend or a family member, or you meet somebody for the first time, seeing how they treat people that can't do anything for them really shows who they are as a person. And it's pretty cool that, I think it was CeeLo. That's it. So I think about this song, like, the change in my pocket's not enough. Like, I'm not good enough because I don't have enough money in my pocket. And it's not to say that having money is bad. It's just to say, like, how you get judged by people, right? So I wanted to bring that up. So now let's bring up briefly, and again, this show has nothing to do with politics. Oh, Dawn, Meet the Expert on the Block. Yes, check out Meet the Expert on the Block. Dawn just threw the link in the chat. Thank you. So we've had a change in this country's leadership, a major change in this country's leadership. And things are way different now than they were just a few months ago. So again, whether you believe one way or another, that's not what I'm here to discuss. I really don't care. I don't care who you voted for. I don't care who you identify as or what you identify as. I don't care who you sleep with. All that stuff doesn't matter to me about me. What matters to me is that you're growth-minded and you're willing to challenge yourself to live beyond default. So let's remember that. Remember, though, with the change in leadership, there are changes that are happening in the economy and the mindsets of people, and pointing fingers in so many different areas. Now, again, are you paying attention to that? And I'm not saying to stick your head in the ground, put your head in the sand. I'm not saying to be in denial about things. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is paying attention to things you can control versus things that you can't control. That's where it's at. John Doherty, you're going to go to the principal's office because you're late on the show. I'm sending you out of here. Thanks for joining us, brother. So, change in the pocket. Sometimes people treat you differently if you make more money or you're less money. Change in the country's leadership. Are we going to spin out of control and start pointing fingers and say everything is the new leadership's fault? Or are we going to be our own leaders? And again, focus on what we can control. How about change in the market? Recently, really recently, we've seen changes in the market. We've seen a dip. We've seen a correction. We've seen changes in the housing market over the last 5 years. So these changes, they affect us financially. They affect our lives. At the same time, are we focusing on what we can control, or are we focusing on what we can't control? When it comes to our finances, do we have our money in good interest-bearing accounts, good accounts that are making us money, that also will level off those dips and make sure that we're riding that wave well? Do we have good advice, financial advisors? I'm going to the Clearwater Capital Partners Spring Symposium this weekend at Harper College. I invited a lot of you too. It's another thing. Are you paying attention, focal attention, paying your attention to what you can control and where you could put your money? Super, super important. And always live below your means. There were times where I didn't live below my means, and I was making a ton of money and I was also spending a ton of money. And what a difference is in, especially when you're making a ton of money and you're not spending a lot. It just makes a huge difference. So just remember that. Change in the market. How about really change since Rona happened 5 years ago? Like, that was major. That was a major change in the whole world. Think back on that. We talked about that a little bit earlier. What did you do during lockdown? Did you grow? Did you read books? What have we done in the last 5 years, since it was 5 years ago? Have you gotten closer with the ones that you love? Maybe you're not spending as much time with those that you don't want to be around with. Maybe you changed careers. Maybe you took up a hobby, or you stopped doing something that maybe wasn't good for you, like shopping too much or eating too much or drinking too much. Who knows what it was? Maybe over the last 5 years, you've become more of the person that you're meant to become. Maybe you've been living your power. Think about that. It's a big change. You know, they say that our body cells change, that they regenerate themselves like every 7 years, and you're a new person. I also think that we're a new person every single day. And we could change just by making one simple shift. We could change anything that we want in our lives. You know, as Brene Brown says, we could do hard things. And we can also do things, we could do more than we think we can. And doing more than we think we can, it's such a mindset. Like, really think about that. I have a Post-it note by my larger monitor in my office over there that says, you could do more than you can. You can do more than you can. Think about that, because it's all just a mindset. So, big change in the last 5 years. What have you done in these changes? And if you haven't done everything you'd like to do, or the changes you want to make, it's okay, because I haven't either. I'm just waking up every day and I'm doing the best I can. I'm living beyond default, doing the best I can. And with your encouragement, I appreciate it, because I love the comments. I love when I get feedback from the show that people just get 1 or 2 little nuggets out of it. It's all we're here to do. All right. What other kind of changes? Well, I brought this up earlier about people getting microchips in their head, and that's going to be a change. Now, in the beginning, it was said it was going to help certain diseases and reverse things by putting something in the brain. Who knows where that's going, and who knows where Uncle Elon's going to take that, okay? Again, I'm not going to get into the political side of this. Well, all I'm saying is it's going to be, there's going to be changes along that front. And changes in the mind. There's another thing I like to think about. Like, so many of us say and feel that, like, we make a decision and then we go all in. And I think that's important. In fact, I think it's so important to make the decision right versus making the right decision. So think about that. When you make the right decision, a lot of times you're just getting up in your head and you're going over 50 different choices, as opposed to doing some diligence, making the decision, and then just going all in and making that decision right. Right now, I've got some changes coming in my life, which I'm making some big decisions on, which is super cool. So it's okay to change your mind. And I believe, or have felt over these years, that was shunned upon. That was seen as bad. Oh, they changed their mind. Well, yeah, I changed my mind. I'm human. You're allowed to change your mind. You're allowed to change your mind. John Doherty says we were put on this earth to do big, hard things. Yes, John, we are put on this earth to do hard things. In fact, we are like plants and like the universe. We are expansive. That's what we're here to do. We're wired to be expansive and to grow every day. And as Napoleon Hill says, if you're not moving forward, you're moving backward because you can't stand still. The way things are set up, if you're still, you're just being pushed back. So, John, you bring up a good point. Think of what's going to be anytime that there's a change coming up in your life. It usually is, not usually, but a lot of times it's a hard thing. Let's say that. Think about what's on the other side of that door when there's a change. Think about the growth and the opportunity and the excitement of the unknown, right? When you walk into a place for the first time, when you meet somebody new in a heterosexual or homosexual relationship or whatever kind of relationship you desire, when you meet somebody new, think about, like, in the beginning, how that is and how exciting it is. Think about how cool it is when you just drive somewhere that you regularly drive to, but you go a different way. Think about that. Or even brushing your teeth with a different hand. Instead of using your left hand, you go and you use your right hand. Like, even something like that, that little change makes like this huge difference and really expands, right? And it's the practice that I'll say. So embracing change, it's the practice that if you do little things at home or throughout the day, maybe you put your one shoe on before the other. Maybe you change up your morning routine a little bit. Maybe you just do things a little bit differently. But embracing those little changes that you can control will allow you and enable you and encourage you to embrace the changes, especially in the areas that you can't control. Because again, it's all about us and our mindset and controlling what's going on here. And that's where we're going to be successful in our business, in our personal life, in our financial life, with our relationships, with those that we love, and letting go of some of those that really aren't good for us. Spiritually, that's where we're going to embrace that. And one other thing I wanted to ask of all of us is two big things: relationships and career. Is it time to change your career? Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. I want you to ask yourself that question, though. Or how about, is it time to change a relationship that you're in? Maybe it's time to let go of that relationship. Or maybe it's time to step up and level up level a current relationship, whether it's personal or it's business or it's family. Maybe it's time to do that. Those are things that we can control. And you know, when life is good, it holds us back from great. I know that because it does that to me all the time. And I'm constantly challenging myself to get from good to great in so many areas. So I so appreciate everybody watching and listening, whether you watch the show live on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, or Instagram, or you're checking out this replay on Spotify or Apple Podcast. The half hour goes fast, 30 minutes go fast. And we had some great chime-ins today. We talked about change is going to come. We mentioned about Jack Welch from the gut, right? And what he says here in this book, I want to share with you as we leave until 2 weeks from now. Listen to your gut because change is going to come and the gut never lies. So thank you again for watching and listening to Live Beyond Default live stream episode number 84. Until next time, make it a great week. I so appreciate you all, and we'll see you soon.